Hello there, my name is Toman and I'm here today to present add-on I made for Godot. The add-on is called VPainter and it serves for creating vertex covers on meshes. You can find the add-on on GitHub. I will link it in the description below. And I will demonstrate how to use it and why you may need it. The first thing that I need to say is that I'm actually not a programmer, I'm actually a game artist, and I just always wanted to have something like this that will help me create pretty 3D levels in Godot, but I was unable to find somebody to code it for me, so during the last maybe a year I took it upon myself and I started learning how to code. Turns out that Godot is a pretty awesome game engine and it's very easy to learn, so that's what I came up with. So the first thing that we will do is I will start with a fresh Godot project and show you what the add-on can do. So I will start by just cloning and downloading the add-on, and once you do that and extract it, you may have something like this, and that contains the add-ons, images, and a few other files. Actually, all that you need is the add-ons folder. So what I would do is I would usually go and click Open in File Manager and my project. Just go to the files and copy and paste the add-on into my Godot project directory. It will import and that's it. We kind of already have it copied. All we have to do is to activate it. So we go to project settings, and in plugins we just have to click active. And that's it. In order to be able to show how it works, we will need to import some meshes. So I will create a new folder. I will call it meshes. And I will first show you what I will import. It's a very simple, just plane subdivided a couple of times, so I have some vertices I can paint on. And as you can see, it's mapped from the 0 to 1 UV space. I exported this as a GOTF format, and I have it here. If I go to meshes, and where did I put that? Here. You can just drag it and drop it in meshes. Now you can see we already have this. I'll just go and import, and I'll click import as separate objects and click re-import. What I can do now is I will create just a new 3D scene. I'll add a spatial node as a root, and I will make a mesh instance. By the way, I'm sorry for my very clicky keyboard. I don't know what to do about that. But yeah, what I did is I added a new mesh instance, and in the mesh instance is a mesh. I will just wall the plane, and as you can see, it's just a simple plane, the one I imported. And now I need to refresh, just click, and you will see there is a new button appearing here. It's VPainter, and once you click it, you get this menu, and the menu will allow you to paint. But first things first, even if we paint some vertex covers here, you may not really see it, because we need something to be able to preview it. So I'll just go here and I will create a new folder and name it materials, and shipping with the add-on, there is a little folder called additional resources, and I include in this folder two shaders who show off both of them. So first I will create a new resource, material, and it will be a shader material, and I will call it Vertex Paint Preview. So that's the material here, and as a shader I will just drag the Vertex Paint Preview shader. And now I will go to my mesh, and on surface 1 I will drag the material. what you can see is this object has no vertex core. So what we can do here is to pick a new core, let's say red, and change the brush size as big as we want it, and oops, sorry, and we should be able to start painting. Why is it not painting though? See, that's interesting. Oh yeah, because that's a thing about my shader. I made it so that you can preview the different channels if you want to paint something just on the R, G, or B channel, so you can turn them on and off depending on your needs. So technically what you can do now, after we click the ability to preview them, is just paint your vertex core. You can choose a core, I don't know, something like this. And yeah, as you can see, the core gets painted. You have a few options here. One of them is that you have the size. As you can see, you can also use the bracket keys, I think they're called, and scale your brush. You also have the opacity slider here. So the smaller the opacity, the less you paint, you can see. And you have the hardness. So like with a very hard brush, I'll show it with a full opacity, and I'll go, let's say, I don't know, white, so it's nicely visible. You can see how you get this very harsh vertex paint, but if you lower, you get this much softer blending. So usually I actually use the minimum hardness and a very low opacity for most of my vertex paints. So that's for the brush tool itself. Additionally, you have a color picker, which is the sample tool. With it, you can just pick the color that is under. Technically, it is not really picking directly, I'm sorry, the color that is visible here. It is actually picking the actual real color under. So even if you use some special shader that is not represented as a color, it will still pick the accurate color. And there is a bore tool, which I'm currently implementing, so it is still not available, but it will be soon. And there is additionally the fill tool. The fill tool, as you can imagine, what it does is it fills the mesh. It's also affected by the opacity. So if it's full opacity, it will just directly fill. If it's on low opacity, it will just slightly go towards the color, depending how many times you pick. You can also use a screenshot shortcuts. I'm sorry for this. It's like 1 is brush tool, 2 is for the color picker, 3 is for the bore tool, and 4 is for the fill tool. So that's generally the most basic tools you can use. There is additionally 2 little color swatches that you can choose. The active one is the last one you have selected. So if I put red here and I come to the brush tool and I start painting, I'm painting with the red. If I just click on the white one, I will start painting with the white one. You can additionally add color swatches. The color swatches depend on what you have selected right now. So you can have, let's say, with right click you remove them. Let's say we want to have a red, we want to have a green, and we want to have a blue channel, so you can just quickly pick them every time you need. Let's say that you also want a, I don't know, a black channel as an eraser or something. And that's generally about these things. There are 5 blending modes. You have mix, which technically just replaces the colors. You have add, subtract, multiply and divide, which do exactly as you would imagine. They add, subtract, multiply and divide the colors under. They're actually very useful if you want to paint individual channels, because you can just, I don't know, for example, you know, have something blue, and let's go with full opacity. So I can show, by the way, the spacing. I forgot to mention. The lower the spacing, the more dabs you make per second, so it's smoother. So if, let's say, you want to paint red on top, and if you're just using the mix mode, it will just replace it with red, which is not always what you want to do. Maybe you would like to go with red and just add the red on top. So what I can do is just lower your opacity, come here, and as you can see, you're just having this magenta color. That's the result of mixing the blue and the red channels, and that way you can also use subtract and just remove only the red channel. So that's the general basic of the tools you have. There is one additional thing that I need to show, which is that here, if you have, let's say, another mesh instance, and it references the same mesh, which I need to find. It's under meshes, and drag it. Let's just move the mesh instance here. You can see that they share their vertex core, and that may be what you want, or maybe something that you don't really want. So I think that in some cases you may want to have unique vertex cores per meshes. So what I did here, sadly the vertex cores in Godot are a part of the mesh, so the only way to make a new one is to actually duplicate the mesh, and this little button here does just that. So if you click, okay, first I'll show you without the duplication. If I paint here, it paints on the other one, and yeah, you can see. So while I'm on this mesh, I can just click this button and it creates a local copy of the mesh. And if I paint here now, it's just painted on this one, while this one is staying the same way. You may need to use it for different situations. I don't know what your shader may be. But yeah, that's the basics. I think I actually covered everything. It works pretty well so far. And I will show you a practical example of why you may need this add-on and how it can be useful in some specific cases. I have included another blend for texture shader, which is actually not very accurate because it's technically for materials. And for that I will make a new material, and let's click new resource, material, and shader material, and I will call it height blend, and save it. And height blend will take this shader, if I can only drag it correctly. So that's the shader. You can take a look at it if you want on your own. And what it does is generally it takes some parameters that we will need to include. I will go through them pretty fast and try to explain which one does what. Technically, it takes 4 sets of 3 textures each, and the textures look pretty much like this. I will use some textures here that I made for this specific situation. So here we have a simple color or albedo texture that you can use. We have a regular normal map, OpenGL format for Godot, and we have a mask texture that is actually containing out of 3 separate textures, each put in its own channel. So we have height map at the red channel, glossiness or roughness, I think it's roughness in Godot, which is on the green channel, and the blue channel is for metalness. I don't know, yeah, you get the idea. So I will just import a bunch of textures here, just so I can show you. I will create a new folder here, and I will name it textures. And in the textures, I will just, let me find where it is. I have a bunch of textures here that I will simply drag and drop. And here we go. So I will go in order. I will start first with, okay, these icons are a bit too small for me, but I guess I can do it. I will start with the robot texture, and I will start with the color should be in C, M it should go in M, which is the mask material, and the normal should go in normal. After this, I will go with let's see, the damaged tiles. C goes in color, M goes in mask, and normal goes in normal. After this, I will go with the regular tiles. M goes in mask, N goes in normal, and where did it run? Okay, it's here. C goes in color. And the final one is the dust, color, mask, normal. So that's my material right now, and it is not applied to this mesh yet. So I'll just apply it very fast. The material is here, and once I put it, we'll have an update, and that's the update. We don't have actually any lights, so I'll just add a quick directional light. I'll make it point slightly down, something like this, and put it somewhere up so it doesn't distract us. And let's go to the mesh instance. Let's say that's our ground plane. Currently, it all looks like this dust thingy, and because it's mapped to the last channel, which is the blue channel. So technically, what this shader does is the one textures are mapped to the no channel at all, so that's black. The 2 are to the red channel, the 3 are to the green channel, and the 4 are to the blue channel. You have a parameter here for the UV scale, so you can go with something like, I don't know, maybe 5. Maybe 5 is too much, let's go 4 for now. And let's go on VPainter and paint everything black. Okay, maybe we should finally actually go at 5. And here now we can go and choose the add mode and just take red, and with a very small opacity and a kind of small brush, I will start, okay, very small opacity, we'll start painting in some of the red channel, which in this case will give us a nice blend with the first rocks. Just so you know, the textures I have here are not perfect by any means. I will fix them in some moment in the future when I have a bit of time. But yeah, by the way, if that gizmo is distracting you, it should be inactive in this case, but you can just always go and click on this, and that way you will not see it. And if you want, you can even remove the origin and remove the grid. In that case, we can see better what we're doing. So we painted a bit of these rocks, and as you can see, they're blending nicely between each other based on the height map. And let's say that we want to go with the and add a little bit of the green channel, lower the opacity even more, and you can see here we're starting to have the newer bricks that are slowly appearing, and you can put them pretty much where you wish. That way the texture looks more varied, and you cannot see that it's actually a pretty small texture. And let's go, and for final, let's add some of the blue channel, which is the dust texture we said about. And you can see how it starts to slowly put some of this. Okay, I'll increase the opacity a little bit, maybe decrease the spacing. I like to dab a little and not really like this. not really paint, but more like slowly dab until I get the amount I want. Okay, I'll go a bit harsh here, just so you can see, and maybe I'll reduce the spacing. You can see kind of have this effect here. And now if we want, we can just subtract a little, and just choose to have just a tiny bit of this dust here, maybe a bit here. And as you can see, we have this huge surface of dust, and it's one thing that the texture is not really good, but additionally, the dust itself, you can see very well the tiling. So maybe we can go on the blue channel as we are, and like just click on subtract, just subtract a little here and there, just so it can breaks up the surface, and we can get a nice mixed material like this. So that's actually pretty much all I wanted to show about this use case. I can probably show you that you can see that my color is blue, but if I color pick here, I get the red, even though we have something completely different showing on screen here. We get the mixture of bluish color and stuff. That's how it works. Generally, that is how this thing works. You can also, I think I probably need to mention that actually the blending modes also work for the fill tool. So if you want to just, let's say, remove the blue channel completely, you can just increase the opacity and just do this. Or if you want to just add uniformly everywhere a bit of dust, in this case on the blue channel, you can just add it a bit, and yeah, you can see how it works. It actually helps a lot for individual channel control. And after this, you can of course go in with the brush and retouch it. And I think that's about it about my add-on that I made. I hope some of you may find it useful. I will upload the link on GitHub. The license is the most generous I could put. It's an MIT license, so you can pretty much do whatever you want with it. Sadly, the textures are not included because they're for a personal project of mine, but I'm pretty sure you can make some of your own, or even find some nice textures on a website like Texture Haven. They include very nice textures with included height map, roughness, everything you can imagine. And yeah, that's it. Maybe now I should actually mention there are some limitations about this add-on. Not everything is working perfectly with every other thing. It's like, for example, it does not work with the Godot default meshes. They just work in a totally different way than the regular meshes, and sadly you cannot paint your vertex color on the regular meshes. That's one of the limitations. There are probably some other limitations. Let me check. I actually wrote them down and I kind of forgot what they were. Let me see. So yeah, currently we're only supporting, there is only supported RGB. I plan to add the alpha channel as a possible channel to paint on. I will do this in the near future. And yeah, there is a problem if you have floating geometry. Like, for example, I had some experiences with Suzanne, and because it's a single mesh that contains multiple floating pieces, that will create problems. So I will highly recommend that you have like just a single piece of geometry, and that way it will work. It doesn't need to be manifold. As you can see, this plane is just one-sided. That works perfectly fine. Just try not to have something that contains a bunch of little meshes, because that confuses the engine. And that's it actually. I hope you enjoyed what you saw, and I hope you can forgive my atrocious accent. And yeah, I wish you a good day, and thank you for checking my video. Bye!